Hello everyone, my name is Evan and I like to make stop-motion dinosaurs and monsters. And in Biollante Part 3 today, I'm happy to say we'll be finishing off this kaiju, I say. And as I craft away, we'll be talking about Biollante and the Monsterverse today, I do say. The first thing we'll be working on today is adding that second layer of clay to Biollante. Then once that's done, we'll have some spiky leaf fun. Then once all those are painstakingly put in place, I say, that's when the detail work will be underway, I do say. But the discussion of the day is Biollante and the Monsterverse, I say. Biollante is known as the genetically engineered plant version of Godzilla, using the DNA of a rose as well as a human from a scientist's deceased daughter, otherwise known as Erika Shiragami. You can find more info about her in both Part 1 and 2. Unlike many other kaijus, Biollante apparently did not have a suit actor, so what they did was have an elaborate system of puppetry and mechanical rigs such as pulleys. This plant monster, fascinatingly, was created by a public contest held by Toho. The winning concept came from a dentist named Shinichiro Kobayashi. The fact that this monster's concept came from a dentist is a little ironic personally, because, well, Biollante has a monstrous amount of teeth. Either way, this man happened to be a big Godzilla fan. Asking for Biollante in the Monsterverse is like wanting the paranormal or the supernatural to come together in a magical side of the Godzilla franchise that could work on and expand Mothra's mystique and spiritual ideas in the Monsterverse. It would be epic to see Biollante engaging in psychic duels with Mothra, Batra, the fairy twins, and Orca holders. So how do you think Legendary Studios would go about planting this monster in the Monsterverse? Well, here at Moose Motion Animation, I thought it would go something like this. So Biollante's origin story can be presented in a number of ways, with a whole bunch of different perspectives. Take this for example. When King Ghidorah loses his head, some of his cells get caught in a cloud and drift off into an Amazon rainforest. These cells then merge with the plants, turning into Biollante. Another possible origin is a lab experiment gone wrong. Scientists mix DNA from both Ghidorah and Godzilla with local plant life, thus creating a mutant plant monster. This happens on an island, so the flora ends up taking over the place. Or we could go with a classic Godzilla twist. Alan Jones' group gets Godzilla's blood and tissue, trying to crossbreed it with plants to make super plants that could make even the most harshest of deserts blossom. But as always in Godzilla stories, things go horribly wrong. And they created a terrifying mutant plant that rose from hell, pun intended. Another way to go about it is Biollante not being the main antagonist, but instead it starts off as a mysterious side character. Biollante changes from a misunderstood creature into an unexpected ally for Godzilla, drawing inspiration from Godzilla vs. Biollante and Godzilla vs. Destroya. However, this narrative has its own unique twist. Now let's assume Legendary names this alleged film Godzilla Bio Wars. in which Biollante and Godzilla initially clash because of a series of misunderstandings and conflicts. But as they face common threats, they then start to see the benefits of working together. Over time, Biollante will become a reliable ally for Godzilla, setting up for future films where they stand together against even bigger threats. In a bold move, Apex decides to create their own Godzilla. They cause an explosion on a Japanese touring boat near Fukushima, collecting DNA from the victims before their organs deteriorate. They then focus on a young girl who had radiation-induced cancer. They then start attempting to fuse her brain cells with roses to create unique plant-based G-cells. But their plan inevitably fails, where one singular cell escapes into the wild, while the rest are destroyed in a Monarch raid. Soon, Monarch gets word of mutated crustaceans and then follows Godzilla to the Gulf of Mexico, where he is purging a town infested with creatures, feeding off a nuclear weapon silo. The crustaceans then begin to merge during the battle, forming a massive monster that challenges Godzilla. Monarch then decides to name this new monster Destroyer, which then begins to gain the upper hand in the battle, when all of a sudden, thorny vines then begin to appear, restraining both titans and giving Godzilla a chance to strike back. The vines then begin to absorb the blood spilt from both titans, then proceeding to bloom into a rose-like monster, reaching up to Godzilla's midsection. So, after a fierce encounter, Biollante escapes before Godzilla can cause more harm. Meanwhile, Monarch returns to the ruined Apex base, seeking answers. They discover that Biollante was an experiment involving plant cells similar to Godzilla's, when all of a sudden, Destroyer attacks, drawn by the radiation from Argo's nuclear weapons, which was meant to control Biollante. Biollante then intervenes, battling Destroyer and collecting its blood before suffering major injuries. As Biollante retreats, Destroyer then begins to feed on the abandoned nuclear warheads, growing even stronger. Injured but determined, Biollante follows Monarch to Castle Bravo, seeking a hollow earth tunnel to heal. Meanwhile, a rejuvenated Godzilla heads to confront Destroyer, who can now fly and is heading towards Chernobyl for more radiation. As alarms blare due to Biollante's proximity, Godzilla then arrives to assess the situation. Recognizing as Biollante as non-threatening, Godzilla then shows surprising intelligence here by shedding some of his dead skin cells and offering them to Biollante, allowing her to take root peacefully next to the base. With Biollante now settled, Godzilla then departs to face Destroyer in what could be the ultimate showdown. In the heart of Chernobyl, Destroyer is about to demolish Chernobyl's nuclear power plant sarcophagus, and just in the nick of time, Godzilla and the Argo show up to stop it. The radiation from the site supercharges both titans, leading to an equally matched and fierce battle. However, Destroyer does gain the upper hand by absorbing radiation from Godzilla's atomic breath, and retaliates with his micro-oxygen beam, critically injuring the G-Man. Once Destroyer is about to deliver the final blow to Godzilla and absorb his radiation, Biollante then appears through a cloud of spores. She engages Destroyer after consuming more of Godzilla's dead skin cells. Monarch forces then begin to split their efforts between aiding Biollante and shielding Godzilla as he recovers, keeping Destroyer at bay. During the clash, Biollante then begins to acquire more traits from Godzilla, until she starts to resemble a smaller plant-based version of him. Once Godzilla recovers, he then joins the fight again, giving Biollante the chance to heal. Godzilla and Destroyer then resume their battle, with Godzilla finally defeating Destroyer with Biollante's newly developed solar beams. And if Pokemon taught me anything, it's that solar beams are OP. After the epic battle, Godzilla gently nudges Biollante, a gesture of gratitude for her support against a formidable foe. Monarch records this friendly moment while they keep watching Titans all around the world. Among their observations, they notice a massive cloud of spores floating around the Earth. This natural shield, a legacy of Biollante, protects the planet from harmful UV radiation. She then remains dormant in the sky, ready to spring to action whenever needed. Now, to sum it all up, there's a lot of different ways that Biollante's story could coincide in the Monsterverse. And what you just heard was basically my example of what I think might actually happen. Another possibility is that this plant could be introduced as a sentient plant life form that mainly antagonizes Kong. Biollante could be the Yggdrasil of the Monsterverse, a massive, overgrown reptilian plant with roots all over the globe. She could attack multiple places at once, with her spores infecting biological organisms, causing psychedelic trips that turn them into her drones. Or maybe it won't really go down this way, and perhaps the Monsterverse will never introduce Biollante at all. Considering there's going to be a lot of, well, licensing issues, unfortunately, that is more likely the case. However, the Monsterverse does have a Titan that is pretty similar, known as Mhulik, who happens to share a lot of similar biology traits. However, it's all just theories, unfortunately, at this point. However, you must admit, seeing the Rose Titan from hell would be a sight to see like no other. And there you have it. So, what kind of theories do you have in regards to Biollante being in the Monsterverse? Let me know in the comments below. And if you just so happen to enjoy this video today, be sure to smash that like button as hard as a kaiju, I do say. Another great thing for you to do today, if you just so happen to be new here, I say, is hit that subscribe button today. And make sure your post notifications are on, I say. And be sure to share with your monster-loving friends today, so we can continue to grow this claymation kaiju community, I do say. Speaking of members of our community, I would like to give a special shout out today to Blaze Z Studios, who happens to create similar creations to mine. So if you enjoy my content, you're more than likely going to enjoy his as well. So go show your support for this young creative and give him a subscription today, I do say. He also just so happens to have a Biollante, and I think his Shin Godzilla is pretty epic, so yeah, be sure to go check his stuff out. But now that this project has drawn to an end, my friends, we'll be moving on to the next project, you could say. Now that I've made my second largest kaiju, you could say. There's just a little bit of foreshadowing for the glamour shots there, you might say. Because what I'm thinking about today is perhaps doing a return of the king, you could say. Or perhaps have a toothless dragon heading your way. Or a giant mutant stomping in from the Jurassic, you could say. Let me know if you can solve these riddles today, I do say. You just might get a pin in the comments, you might say. So as you ponder these little riddles today, be sure to enjoy the glamour shots of Biollante. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the very end of the video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the content, comment below what you think, share with your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing if any. Anyway, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy.